Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be talking about certain innovations and certain techniques in the flex procedure which are there. And I'll be dividing them into the dissection techniques, how to address astigmatism, tackling complications, and a little bit about the circle software and certain uses of lenticule which have been there. Now, when you're looking at the dissection techniques, there are a couple of things that have been described by various authors. This has been described by Titial et al., which is called as the meniscus sign. So when you are in the inferior plane or the posterior plane, then you can see that there's a meniscus that appears. And similarly, when you go to the other side, there'll be a meniscus here. So if you see this meniscus which is appearing here, then under those circumstances, you are actually in the posterior plane, and this is called as the meniscus sign. Now, this was described by Susan Jacob et al. So this line is the white ring sign. And you can see that this white ring, if it is white ring is getting disrupted at that particular point, or if you have a disruption here, so that exactly is actually in the posterior phase, which is there, which is the white ring sign. Now, this is something which I even showed in the morning. This is described by Gitansha Sachdev et al. This is the stop sign. So if you are in two different planes, then you can see that there is a resistance which is there. So this is called as the stop sign. So if you are in two different planes, you actually get the resistance, which is called as the stop sign. But if you don't get any resistance, then that means that you are in the same plane that you have. Now, this is a trapped air bubble. When supposing you have excessive energy that has been released. So this is on the silk platform. So you can see there is an air bubble which is there. So this gets released. So this is the release of the trapped air bubble if you are in the anterior plane. If you are in the posterior plane, this trapped air bubble will not get released. So you can see this is the air bubble which is there. Now, if you are going in, so you can see here, you go in and then you go into the posterior plane, as you can see. Now, the moment you go here, could you see that bubble disappear? So when the bubble disappears, this essentially means that you are in the anterior plane. So that shows you the trapped bubble that is disappearing. If you are in the posterior plane, it won't disappear. Now, let's coming to the certain complications. If you have a retained lenticule, it is best to see it under retroillumination. You will also see it on the pentacam that there is a retained lenticule. The OCT can also show. So these are a couple of the things that you have to do in order to actually visualize that there is a retained lenticule. You will be needing to be patient. So you can see here that this is a retained lenticule. There are as you go ahead in this particular case, the hydration would allow you to even have better visualization of the retained lenticule. So there you see that is the retained lenticule. Be a little patient and you can actually go ahead and separate it out from the bottom. You see that's getting detached and you can see the lenticule. Now again, this technique has been described by Gitansha Sachdev et al., the use of triamcinolone. So if you have a retained lenticule, you can actually put triamcinolone and it will demarcate the retained lenticule much better, and you can go ahead and remove the retained lenticule. Intra-op OCT has been described again in India by Titial et al. So you can see that this is a retained lenticule which is here. So this is basically the folded lenticule. And you can use the intra-op OCT that you have. The OCT can be used also in the OPD to actually identify where the retained lenticule is, and you can use this to remove the lenticule. Now, this is something that has been used. So this is called as the circle scan. Here, if you have to do a repeat surgery, that means that you have lenticule that has been taken out and there is a residual power, you can either do a refractive procedure on top of the lenticule, on top of the cap, or you can do what is known as a circle scan. So what did the circle scan do? The circle scan actually makes the cap into a flap. So it starts from there, you go at the same depth it was, and then you make like a donut, and this gives you a flap. So this is a fresh cut of a flap. It's not a relift of a flap, and the chances of getting an epithelial ingrowth are the same as a fresh femto flap. So this is the use of the circle scan. Now, we have also described what is called as tailored stromal expansion with a refractive lenticule for cross-linking of the ultra-thin corneas. So typically when we started with the cross-linking below 460, one would not want to do a cross-linking because it could cause damage to the endothelium. So what we did was that we took the lenticule from any donor who was undergoing a SMILE procedure. We could know the thickness of the lenticule because if you have doing a -3 or a -6 or a -1, the thickness of the lenticule will be different. So whatever is the shortage over 460, we would take a lenticule from there, and this we called as tailored stromal expansion. Therefore, you could actually tailor the amount or the quantum of lenticule that you want. And mind you, this is different from a contact lens because in a contact lens, it is a different material, and the UV light going through a contact lens would be different from that which is going through the stroma, which one can get from a lenticule patient. So we would do this. This is just to show you that you go ahead, you remove the epithelium that you have. You take a lenticule, obviously you just need to be sure that the markers, HIV, etc. have been done. And you are taking this lenticule out. And what also happens is that the lenticule sits very well over the apex. So you can see that there isn't any warpage or anything that you have in a soft contact lens versus a lenticule. So you just put the lenticule, you can soak it with riboflavin first, or you can put riboflavin later, whatever you want. So we prefer to soak the lenticule with riboflavin, and then you can see that you will do the UV radiation, and you can see this is the lenticule. You just peel it out, and the demarcation line and everything comes very well. We have published these results. We have also published the use of this lenticule for intracorneal ring segments in very thin corneas, where we did cross-linking along with intracorneal ring segments. This has been published in the AGO. Again, to show the use of a refractive lenticule, most of us sitting here are lenticule surgeons, so you can use this lenticule in an innovative way to increase the corneal thickness. Now you have adaptive fluence. We still don't have that machine like Avedro has come out with the adaptive fluence, where you can reduce the quantum of fluence which is there to have less amount of fluence which is going on to thin corneas. Shri Ganesh et al. Has described what is known as FILI, wherein for plain hyperopia without astigmatism, you are actually putting in the lenticule in a pocket that has been created to take care of hyperopia. Similarly, the same has been used as an additive procedure for keratoconus by Shri Ganesh et al., where you are using a lenticule that has been taken, or you are fashioning a small lenticule, and you are putting it in a case of keratoconus to increase the thickness of the cornea at that particular time, and they have reported good results with this particular technique. So friends, I would just wish to say that these are a couple of the innovative things that have happened in the technology of how to do better dissections, how to do the astigmatism control you saw today. Basically, you can do it marker or markerless, and that is taking care of the astigmatism. So this is today, I would say, though we have been doing this for more than a decade now, and this is, I would say, the technology which is there for the future, and there are other uses that are going to be there for the lenticule which is there. So the world of refractive lenticule is undergoing drastic changing. Current platforms have upgraded, and there are obviously 5 platforms today that are available, and these updates have attracted more surgeons, as you can see by the attendance here, to shift to the lenticule-based procedures. And the results are comparable. No longer do we say that it takes much longer to get good results with the lenticule surgery as compared to the LASIK. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your talk.